Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, where we teach you how to maximize your results with minimalist fitness strategies to help you break free of the dogmatic diet and exercise rat race and help you achieve a greater state of fitness independence. My name is Matt Schifferly, founder of the Red Delta Project. And of course, today I am joined with one of my good friends, calisthenics enthusiast, Adorian, who is the founder of Old School Calisthenics. Adorian, it's been a while since we've talked, but there's been a lot of changes and developments in your world that we're going to be talking about, including his new shredding program and how he's been getting so super lean without losing muscle mass. So, man, it's great to talk to you again.
Hello, Matthew. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while, yes. And oh boy, I've been through a lot since then.
Okay, so catch us up to speed here. It's been almost 2 years since we've talked, or at least here on the podcast.
Yes.
Just give us the quick synopsis of what you've been up to, what are your new challenges and programs?
Well, during the past 2 years, I managed to grow up my muscle mass from 83 kilograms up to over 95. I also added a lot of body fat too. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in between this time, I stopped training. I had some life issues and I had to fix that first. And I couldn't commit extremely well over my training and the diet regimen. So I had to get back. And when I restarted, I figured out, oh boy, I am pretty fat right now. So could I actually burn only fat, target that alone, and keep my pure mass there? That was my first question. And I've been back and forth through a lot of diets and training regimens since I discovered what actually worked for me. And once I felt it, I said, okay, this is it. So let's stick with that and see where it will bring me. And by that, I'm talking about a lot of cardio, trail running, swimming, and also calisthenics, of course.
Of course. So the posts that you've been putting up on your Instagram channel and stuff, you've been outside a whole heck of a lot. You've been running trails, not just like trails through the woods and stuff, but actual mountains and getting some serious elevation. What kind of spurred you on to taking on that kind of activity?
Well, first of all, I thought it's a good idea. A friend actually told me this. You have some close mountains near you. Why don't you go there and hike or maybe run on those pathways? And I thought like, okay, this actually sounds really interesting. And it's true. It doesn't take me more than 20, 30 minutes if it's traffic to reach the bottom of the mountain. Or they are very small mountains, so nothing extremely dangerous up there and nothing to harm me. So this sounds extremely good. And I said, okay, let's try it out. But this also came because as we run throughout the streets of my city, I don't know, something missed. It wasn't the same great feeling I had in the past when I was younger. And it doesn't seem like I was going to get the same result I once got, you know? I felt like, okay, I need something more. For some reason, this thing will not work anymore. So, okay, let's bring the trail running to the equation. And what I need to go there, I think you firstly need to have those mountains or those hills pretty close, so it doesn't become a stress for you. But then, oh boy, you need a lot of determination because you're going to face bad weather, shifts in the atmosphere, animals, and this is pretty scaring. And besides all that, it's when I ran in the night, in the darkness, and that was also very interesting. I had to overcome that fear that I always had, being alone in the dark.
Are you wearing like headlamps and stuff like that?
In the beginning, I didn't had a headlamp, but I got it. I got it soon after. I just realized, okay, I can run in the darkness on these pathways, and somehow I have a great flow here. I don't stumble across. I don't slip away. It's very interesting to see how your brain is extremely alert and lives in the present, because you know something might be there even
Yeah.
if you don't see it. So it's like you see and you hear with your brain, not with the ears and your eyes.
Yeah, it's to me like growing up in the mountains, like back in Vermont, and now here I live in Denver, of course. So I've got the Rockies right behind me and stuff. You know, you can give me any cardio machine in a gym and it's fine, but there is something about elevation, going up
Yeah,
a hill, because then you're physically moving against the pull of Earth's gravity. When you're on a
exactly.
stationary machine, you have to create resistance somehow. But going up against the pull of gravity up a hill, whether you're running, biking, or hiking, that is on a whole nother level that you just cannot get in a gym. Is that the experience that you had as well?
Yeah, exactly. I can get that the runner's hype, or high, I think it's called. It's like when you do moderate and intensive cardio activity in nature, where is an abundance of oxygen, you, I don't know, from a point on, your brain gets plenty of oxygen, and it just starts to release stress, and it raises the levels of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that feels like nothing else. Honestly, I didn't get that from calisthenics training, like never,
Mm-hmm.
or from lifting weights or doing cardio inside the walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It's some about also just about being outdoors. There was a time I was listening to a doctor who was talking about patients who had chronic pain for various maladies, and he was talking about how he would bring his patients as part of their therapy just outdoors. Like that was it. Like just get outside, lay in the grass, be in the sunshine, go stand in a little brook, get the water flowing over your feet and stuff. And he was saying how he would take some patients who had chronic pain levels of like 8 or
Yeah,
9 on a scale of 10. And after 15 minutes, they'd be like, yeah, now I'm back down to like a 4. And they weren't doing anything. They were just being outside. And these days, we spend so much time indoors that we forget there's so much of a therapeutic benefit to just being outdoors at all.
it
So you're
works
getting
big
double
time.
dose, right?
Yeah, I use it nowadays also to get me started. For instance, I'm producing a lot more content on YouTube right now, and not all the time I have the same level of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And when I feel like, okay, I don't feel like I function anymore at the same level, and immediately it crosses my mind, why don't you go up on the mountain, get I don't know, 5 miles done, and come back?
Yep.
And of course, that many would then think, okay, but this will tire you up. Well, exactly. Physically, it might tire you up. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But mentally, I am extremely sharp and light fast. I
Mm-hmm.
come home and I have the mood to do everything. It doesn't matter the challenge, the demand, the task. If it's hard, I don't care. I just want to do it and get it
Yeah.
done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it works. And I bet it works the same with riding the bike in the
Mm-hmm.
nature. I think it's almost the same kind of activity,
Yeah.
just using a different tool.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. I would go up on the mountains. I would go backcountry skiing or hiking with friends and come down. And I learned very quickly that I needed to bring something to record ideas down, because if I'm just staring at a blank computer screen trying to write something,
Yeah,
there's no way. Writer's block is not something you can overcome. But you get outside, you're moving around, and I'd come down off the mountain with like 15 ideas, and maybe 2
exactly.
or 3 of them are great. There's a roadblock there that gets released when you're up in the mountains.
And staying in front of a computer, being stressed, okay, what am I gonna do right now? Because I need that creativity, I need those ideas, and somehow they don't pop up just like that, because the stress overwhelms you somehow, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to release that. And it's like that exchange between us and the trees, the nature. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the trees releases oxygen, we take the oxygen, we gave them the dioxide, carbon, they get that and produce their mass. So it's this exchange. It's a chemical exchange, but I think it works even on an energetical level.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There's, when it comes down to getting leaner and losing weight and stuff, on the superficial level, it's like, okay, calories in, calories out, store less, burn more kind of thing. Like, it sounds so simple, but when you really get into the nuts and bolts of how our bodies use energy and consume it and use it for activity, there is so much we do not understand. Calorie balance is ridiculously complicated. And I really feel like there's something about the natural world that helps facilitate a greater sense of health and just balance, both from an energy standpoint, mental energy, physical energy, even emotional energy, that we are just totally oblivious to, but we can feel it the moment we start doing it. So in your experience, is that helping you and your friends get a lot leaner than if you just did cardio in a gym?
Yes, exactly. It's interesting because we don't talk about calorie intake, never. Okay, we wanted to lose weight, but we never had a discussion, okay, so how many calories should I eat from now on? Or how many calories should I burn in a workout from now on? Because almost every time I ask an extremely technical and precise question, 3-4 responses were coming up, and they were like extremely hard to follow 100% correctly. Like, okay, you may need 2500 calories a day. Okay, but that's maybe tomorrow. Or about the day after tomorrow, Maybe you don't need as much, or maybe you're extremely sore and maybe you need 3000. You can't keep a track all the time because that stresses you out, in my opinion. And then is when I came across on a TEDx video talk with an Australian scientist, and he explained a lot the weight loss phenomenon. And he said that we breathe out our body fat in a percentage of 86%, and the rest is going out through sweat and urine as water. So when I discovered that, okay, we breathe out, oh boy, that makes a huge difference for me. It made a lot more sense to go out in the nature and do my cardio activity there. Also because then I studied and I found out, okay, when we do steady pace and moderate intensity, then we utilize more effectively the fat reserves than we utilize the sugar reserves. So that leads me to doing longer, more extended sessions of light, moderate intensity. So running on the mountains gave me just that, because I had the elevation and that worked my muscles too, because I didn't want to lose my mass in the legs. And yeah, running too much, you're going to lose it. But if you work in elevation, then you have a lot of contraction, like you do pistol squats or lunges, walking lunges.
Sure.
And that actually prevented me from losing the mass in the legs, in the core, and it focused more on body fat instead.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best ways to prevent muscle loss when you're trying to lose weight is give your body a reason to keep it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Functional tissue. If you say, hey, you need to burn energy, you need to expend a lot of calories, but at the same time, you're also saying, I need you to be strong and keep this muscle mass, then it's going to be more inclined to say, well, we need the muscle, so we're not going to burn that, so we got to go after the other reserves. And there is definitely, and again, going to elevation, like one of the biggest problems with gyms is there's no down. There's no downhill. Even on a treadmill, like you can incline a treadmill, but you don't decline, or there are decline treadmills, but it's like 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees.
And that eccentric move, it's really important in the development of muscles, even tendons.
Yeah. Oh, totally. My friends and I back in Vermont, we used to climb or hike up Mount Mansfield, which is the tallest mountain in Vermont. And somehow we got in our heads that every time we went down, we would run down it as fast as we could.
Exactly.
Which was pretty technical. And there were a couple of summers we did that almost every week. And I don't think my legs have ever been that strong. Even when I was squatting weights and stuff, it's just, you're basically jumping down a mountain. And we would tear down that mountain. And the first time we do it, my legs would be sore for a week, like would rival any strength program. But going downhill, it's something you, again, don't really get to that degree in a gym, but it's so valuable for keeping your muscle, but burning a ton of calories.
Exactly. And people actually question a lot, how are you not breaking your legs? Because recently I was on the mountain. I also posted that video in my Instagram. Maybe you saw it. I was coming down the mountain. It's the inclination, the elevation is extremely high there. Mm-hmm. And the tourists were on the pathway, like moving very slowly. And I was coming down like a train. And I didn't see them. But at some point I heard, how the hell is this guy coming down so fast and doesn't fall? Mm-hmm. And I just turned my head towards them and I said, don't do this, please. Yeah. This is for experience only.
Yeah, it's not something you just want to go out and do. You have to build some experience with this. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I want to get out and I'm going to start getting outside and stuff, what would you recommend people start with?
Hiking, always. Mm-hmm. I recommend them to go and study a trail. They might ask some friends or maybe find them, search for them on the internet. Mm-hmm. And actually see the place. They don't have to run, just to hike and, I don't know, track everything like distance, elevation. Then you see how you can face it the next time you come. Mm-hmm. And of course, on the second attempt, they come there and maybe they try not to stop at all because now they kind of know the trail. So on the third time, they can try and run it a little bit, the portions that are runnable, of course. Mm-hmm. And if they do like this, they are actually doing progressive training, which is great because they allow their legs space and time to recover. Mm-hmm. And to enhance the absorption of minerals, which will make them really stronger than they were before. Oh, so this is what it is. Then comes into question, okay, once they start to run, of course, it's the temperature, it's the clothes they wear, maybe they need water. So these are all things they will learn as they go through, as I did. When I first started to run my first 8 miles on mountain paths, I always brought with me water. And now, because I know that trail so well, I don't even care. I just go already hydrate on the pathway and I can drink my water afterward, no problem.
Yep.
So practically it's all experience built.
Yeah. I'll also second that and really emphasize the importance of really build up gradually. I know there's a lot of, especially when you get outdoors, there's always the pull of the peak, as they call it, where it's like, oh, I got to get to the top, or I've got to go to this extra distance, or I got to run the full trail and stuff. And I've noticed a lot of people quickly overdo it when they do that. Like with Mount Mansfield was the type of mountain where you have to be in shape to be able to get to the top. Yeah. Because if you're not and you make it, it will wreck your legs big time. You'll never want to do it again. So that's why when people started out, I always said, get to like this trail marker here that's like a quarter of the way up. And I would tell them, like, do that for an entire summer. Like, don't even make it a goal to get to the top. Then next year, go halfway up. And it's really slow progression because especially when it comes to weight loss, I think there's this idea of we've got to keep pushing ourselves to our limit in order for it to make it worthwhile. But at the same time, it's like, no, if you're just doing something, you just have to do something and expend some energy and it will work. It doesn't have to be killing you every time you go out.
Exactly. And this also because you have to go back again. And if you kill yourself during your first 2 sessions, then what about the third?
Yeah.
Because when I planned my training log, I said, okay, I don't want to lose my mass on the upper body that I build with calisthenics, because that would be ridiculous to work 4 or 5
Yeah.
years in calisthenics so hard and lose it all because I want to get fit again. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do 1-2 sessions of hardcore calisthenics training just to remind my body that, bro, you don't lose the mass because we need it. So just let it be there. I'm gonna eat my carbs, my proteins, my fats, and everything. Just let it stay.
Mm-hmm.
And now we target body fat alone.
Mm.
Okay, so this is what I did. And I went there and I said, okay, I have to train systematically because I may kill myself in a session, but I want to do 3 running sessions a week because I had 2 of calisthenics. So 5 workouts a week.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go running like a maniac every time. That's very true. Also because your legs will be extremely sore,
Mm-hmm.
even more after the second run.
Yeah.
You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to overcome with the foam roller, getting some massages done and stuff like that. I was extremely sore. I often found myself in a situation where I had to hike in my third workout on the week because I just couldn't run because of muscle soreness. I was so burned out.
Yeah.
And on downhill, it's when you feel it the most, because when you go uphill, you warm up gradually, you're fine. Even that soreness somehow passes away, right?
Yeah.
But when you come back, it's a totally different kind of pain. And
Yeah.
that pain, that shock that comes through your legs once you touch the ground with that force every time, with that
Mm-hmm.
momentum, it's something that you can do, because that's actually when you risk to get injured,
Yeah.
when you go downhill, especially if it's a technical terrain.
Oh yeah. That
Like
was
you said,
always the old way of thinking about it. The first time you ever go hiking or so, like you're going up, you're so out of breath. It's really challenging. You're just on a stairway, up,
yeah,
up, up. There's no break. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to the top. And then I just get to coast on down. It's going to be nice and easy. And it's like, no, going down is also really hard on the body and just a different
yes,
way. And it's not easy either. But again, it challenges you in a way you just cannot get otherwise,
exactly,
because you have to go down perpetually.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's very beneficial. It builds a lot of strength in the legs pretty quick.
My first time I went, it was already the sunset, and okay, I had to cope with the idea that I have to go through the forest for some miles, and it will be complete darkness, alone. And I asked myself, okay, what will I do there? Because I don't have a lamp, I don't have anything, and of course the fear of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I was extremely sore, but because I was so alert in that situation, I couldn't actually feel that. It's like I was in a survival mode that didn't matter anymore. And this happens a lot on the mountains, not only when it's darkness, but if you see, I don't know, a wild boar or something that might actually do something to you,
Mm-hmm.
you just activate yourself somehow. You become extremely powerful all of a sudden.
That adrenaline
And
kicks
I
in.
like that so much that I said, okay, I gotta do this again, even though it was extremely difficult.
Were you like looking for tigers and bears when you're out there or something? Did you run into many animals when you're out there?
Yeah, bears. Yeah. The
Oh my
bear is
gosh,
something
man.
you have in your mind all the time. Like, please God, hear me. Don't make me meet a bear right now.
Oh man. Because yeah, out here in Denver, we've got bears, we've got mountain lions,
Wow,
rattlesnakes are a big problem. I've run into quite a few of those. I carry a snake bite kit with me whenever I go out,
oh,
because you will run into those. What kind of
yeah.
animal threats do you have out there in like Romania?
Like the bear and the wild boar.
Wild
And
boars, really?
yeah, but the bear, it's kind of predictable in a way. If you compare with the mountain lion, then you're pretty doomed if you meet the mountain lion. But maybe you have some chances with the bear just because it's not a cat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that instinct to follow you and chase
Hmm.
to see what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be careful out here.
Oh, and dogs, a lot of dogs, because
Really?
it's the sheep. Yeah, the sheep are there a lot, and
Oh.
they are guarded by dogs, and those dogs could be pretty tough and dangerous if you don't know how to approach them.
Mhm. So
Yeah,
basically, I mean, obviously, if someone's listening to this, they may not be in Denver and they may not be in Romania, but when you're going
yeah,
outside, like you've got to recognize that you're in a natural environment.
exactly.
There is risk there.
Yeah,
Even
respect
if
the
it seems
nature.
mundane, there is the potential for injury, for risk. You've got to be careful when you're going out into the woods and into the mountains.
Definitely. And you have to tell someone, especially if you go alone. Whatever, just tell your friend, bro, listen, if I don't call you in 3 hours, because you know already how much this will take you. If I don't call you in 3 hours, please call me or do something or come search for me. It's really important
Oh yeah.
to know exactly what you're doing.
Hmm.
You don't go
Yeah.
there. I have a friend who came with me, and soon after we wanted to start running, he put his headphones on to listen music.
Hmm.
And that was a moment when I clicked and said, yo, you can't do this here. It's dangerous. I
Yeah.
run faster than you. So what if I yell at you like a maniac, saying, don't come, it's a bear right here. Go back. And you don't listen to me because you're listening to music instead.
Yeah.
Or maybe there is a branch of tree, I don't know, falling off your head. And you don't hear that because you listen to music. So
Oh yeah.
those are
No, I'm
places that
totally. That's
require
a
some level of
yeah.
respect and
Hmm.
attention. You can't go there and focus only on yourself. You can't be that
Yeah.
egoistic,
You have to be
selfish.
aware of your environment. Well, it's a big problem out here for sure. Um,
Oh yeah,
People listen to their headphones and stuff, and it kind of has led to like there are fights out there on the trails and stuff because you'll get a faster runner or biker come up on a hiker on a single track or something, and they're like ringing their bell saying, "Get around! Can I get around you?" And they're just completely oblivious, blocking the trail, and people get into fist fights over it out here.
oh
But the worst example I ever saw was I was out riding and there was a guy who was stopped a little bit up the trail and he's like, whoa, stop, 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 stop. And we're like, what? And he's like, rattlesnake right there on the trail. And it was like 30 feet in front of us. He's like, and it's going crazy. It's going with its tail and everything. I'm like, whoa, gee,
wow,
thanks for stopping me. And this guy with headphones on his bike just went right past us, totally oblivious. We're waving at him like, stop, stop. And he's like, what? And wouldn't you know it, he stopped right at the snake. Like he
yeah,
finally got it in his mind of like, what? And he put his foot down and almost stepped on it. And this snake is going
oh
absolutely
boy,
nuts. It's totally aggravated. At that point, we're like, go, go, go. You got to ride. Get out of here. Get out of here. And he's like, okay. I mean, and he rode off and oh my gosh, thank gosh he wasn't attacked. But after that, I'm like, you're an idiot if you go out there with headphones on. It's just
exactly.
that simple. It's
And
not
then
risky.
and then
It's
you have to help him, because
yeah, exactly. And they
that's the
make headphones.
situation you're in.
Yeah, they make headphones that go like they send signals through your skull where they don't block your ear canal, where you can still listen to music, but you can hear everything around you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like,
There are
okay,
ways.
that's great. And I've seen people out. It may be a little annoying, but they have like a Bluetooth speaker clipped to their backpack or something.
Hmm.
And some people are like, oh, that's so annoying. People have I'm like, I would way rather have someone doing that than have headphones on because you can still at least hear people around you. You can hear what's going around to some degree, but I will never walk or hike with headphones on. That is, I mean, you might as well just drive recklessly without a seatbelt on. It's the stupidest thing you can do.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And besides the fact, then what's the point in going in nature after all? Even
Yeah.
if it's not dangerous at all. Let's say there are only foxes there.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter, but you can't do that. It's a meditation too.
Yeah. No,
You
you're
asked me
right.
about animals. We have wolves as well, but I don't
Yeah.
think wolves are that dangerous, at least
Really?
in our part. Yeah, because they're really smart and really, really smart. They don't
That,
face.
that's
They don't
becoming
show
more of
up.
a problem out here too. I don't think people have really gotten attacked by it, but they can get aggressive, and they aren't small. Like a wolf, like I used to think a wolf was like the size of like a German Shepherd or something. I'm like, okay, whatever. And they've got a wolf sanctuary here in Colorado. And I was like, if this thing went after me, there is nothing I could do. It's like 130 pound of razor sharp teeth and claws. Like I would be dead meat. No questions asked kind of thing. If this thing wanted to go after me,
you may climb a tree with him. If you have the time, climbing a tree may help. But if it's a mountain lion or a bear,
Oh yeah. So anyway, the bottom line is, don't be stupid when you go out there. Like you've got to be aware of your surroundings at all times, because the weird thing about nature is it seems placid. It seems like nothing is happening, like nothing goes on, nothing changes and stuff. And like that, suddenly it's different. Exactly. And you have to be aware of that, because it will come out of nowhere, weather-wise, animals, your situation. You could just be hiking on a trail and be like, okay, whatever, turn your ankle and whoop, there you go, you're in trouble. And it doesn't much.
People got injured on the trails I run.
Yeah.
So I know there are a lot of possibilities to end up in a situation like that. And even my friends had some, even I had suffered some pain during my running sessions, but fortunately I'm pretty well trained and managed to overcome everything.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, let's do the conversation a little more potential. It sounds like everything's doom and gloom. The bottom line is, yes, there's risk to it, but it takes almost nothing to make that risk drop to very low levels. And that's what we're saying. Like, it's not extremely deadly and dangerous out there if you're taking the right precautions, if you're aware.
If it's all calculated, bro, you're good to go. Smash those trails, no problem.
Yeah. Bring some food, bring some water, maybe an extra layer or something, and you'll be fine. But the people who don't think, because these things seem like nothing, like, whatever, it's no big deal kind of thing. That's where things can go from great to really bad, really fast. And you don't want to have a risk like that in a workout. You just don't. You're doing it for your health and well-being. You don't want to be risking these sorts of things.
But you know that the fitness industry nowadays, it doesn't strike me as being about well-being anymore. It's more about the cool factor and, wow, this guy is doing that or the other.
Yeah.
And you know me already. I'm all into basics and basics alone. And I don't know what to do cool for people to understand that, listen, this is what you need. The essential exercises. Yeah, you can go and try different kind of variations, but stick, if you can, with the basics, like running, like doing pull-ups, doing push-ups. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
An acquaintance of mine asked me, but bro, how did you build such a body only from pull-ups, running, and I don't know? Because he asked me, I kind of run the same. I have the same results from running as you, the same performance, but I don't look like you. And I asked, okay, but how much did you run in your life? Well, I started this year. Okay, bro. I have 15 years of training.
I've been
thinking for 10 years. Come and reach me after.
It really is true how there's a time lapse sort of thing. Like when you do something and you've been doing it for 6 months, it feels like you've been doing it for a long time. Yeah. And you look back and you're like, I've been doing it for so long. I did it for an entire year. But when you've done something for 10, 15 years, you look back and you'll be like, oh man, I was barely getting started. Like that was nothing.
Yeah.
6 months was nothing. Why did I even think I'd be even anywhere at that point, right?
What's 6 months compared to 10 years? I mean, my God, if I look back, 15 years of training in which I swam, I even had years in which I swam more than I walked in my feet.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah.
Then people ask me, how do you swim like that? Well, because I swam like 5 miles every day for years ahead. So what would you expect from a pro football player to not know how to play football? Because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because we don't know what people's history is. When you look on social media and you see someone nail a move or they're in great shape and stuff, you really don't know what's behind that image. We can only relate it to what we've experienced. So what, for example, if I went out, because I can't run for crap, I'm a terrible runner. If I ran 2 miles, for me, it would feel like, oh man, I'm really crushing it. I'm killing it. I'm doing everything. You run 8 miles and you're like, yeah, that was a nice light workout kind of thing. So for me to be like, well, why am I not shredded yet? I did 2 miles 3 times a week for a month. And there's you and your example. You're like, dude, like, no, you can't even contrast and compare. It's apples to oranges in such a big way.
I remember when I ran my first mountain marathon, not officially, almost the same distance, because I just jumped directly into twice the distance I was used to run. Because as I told you already, I train systematically, maximum 12 miles maybe on a session, but no more than that, because it's plenty of calories burned there. You don't need to do it for 4 hours, because that's too much. You can burn thousands of calories if you run 4 hours, of course, but you'll also pay the consequences after.
Right.
And I did. Yeah. I needed like 3-4 days of recovery. To me, seemed a lot. For the majority, this sounds maybe extremely fast. But I was so crushed, I couldn't even stay in my shower and wash myself in my feet. I had to lay down.
Been there. I have been
After
there.
4 hours of running.
Yes. I know the feeling. Oh.
And I had over 2,000 meters. I don't know how much is that in feet, but it's a lot. 2,000.
It's a lot.
A whole mountain up and down. And up again and down again.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, going back to like practical takeaways. So basically you're becoming like a specialist in burn the fat, build the muscle kind of thing. And one of the big things that I'm just picking up on to summarize for everybody is we want to be doing, steady state cardio was fine. It's very powerful. I've always believed in it myself. But the key is you don't go out there trying to crush yourself. You're not trying to just drive yourself into the ground, because then if you're exhausted, that compromises recovery, it compromises your strength training, and that is a downward cycle. So you're saying get out, do what you
regularly,
love.
Do it frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, frequency.
But
exactly.
Except there are times when you feel like I really want to give it my all this workout. I don't know, for some reason, your brain allows you to do it. Because I always tell to my friends, if you sleep well, if you eat well, then you will feel better. And that will affect your performance. And if you go out there and you feel like, okay, I can smash my workout today, wherever it is, let it be a calisthenics session, lifting or running, doesn't matter. Then just do it. Do it without taking into consideration too much of the side effects like getting injured, because you'll figure it out tomorrow about that, but you will regret it if you could and you didn't push it through the limits at that particular time. Because if you ask me, there are more training sessions in which you deal with your own negativity and bad thoughts, overcome and perform decently. So why not pushing it when you really can?
But those are opportune moments. You're not trying to force it like every time.
No.
It's when the stars align and you've got either a competition or you just, all right, today I'm just 100%, let's rock and roll and taking advantage of it. But you're not trying to force it every time or even
I can give two very good examples. One in calisthenics, one in trail running. So when I don't have the same mood and positivity, energy in my body and my brain, I just say, okay, can I do 100 pull-ups? Because that's not a benchmark for me anymore, 100 pull-ups. I did, I think, 400 in a workout. So I know what my body is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a question, can I do it today? And if I can't, then okay, let's do like 100 pull-ups, because I know from experience that is sufficiently enough to work my biceps, my back muscles, to work a little bit my strength. And if I don't gain something more, then at least I maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And I maintain it again and again and again until I feel okay and I can do 200 pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel it.
Yeah.
And then I have times when, okay, today I feel extremely strong, extremely durable. Let's do 200 pull-ups. And it's the same with running. I have a weighted vest of 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point I said, today I want to bring this with me on the mountain. The same trail, just with a weighted vest.
Mm-hmm.
It was a stupid idea because my trapezius hurt so bad, even more than my legs.
Yeah.
And it bounced around on my body, and it affected my coordination, my balance. But okay, be it. I wanted to train my calves at a higher degree and my upper legs
Yep.
more. And it worked, but that was once only. Then I said, okay, now I'm going to slow it down, and I hiked 2 times. Then I ran again. And then I just wanted to run almost a marathon.
Mm.
And that is what I did. So this is kind of the mixture I recommend to almost everybody.
So it's a flexibility. It's not about having like,
Yeah.
I always run an hour, or I always run, 10 miles or something, and being rigid
Exactly.
about it. It's giving yourself the flexibility to do things differently.
People put pressure on themselves. If you notice this, they set time frames. Oh, I have to kill myself today because I have 1 month until I gotta get fit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have that mentality and you have those time frames, I think you're doomed to failure, in my opinion.
Mm.
I never achieved results, regardless how I settle them.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, and I reached a pretty good level even in calisthenics. So I was like this before. I want to do the 1-arm pull-up
Mm-hmm.
until the next summer. Of course, I didn't.
Mm.
And now I ran so much and I did less calisthenics. And a few weeks ago, I could do the 1-arm pull-ups. And I was like, what the hell?
Congrats, man. Good job.
Okay, so it's not about me. It's just about focusing on training, on performance, do it regularly. And I don't know, peace will start to fall into it in their place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy just how much this stuff is still a mystery about how the body changes and why it changes and how we can control the changes. There's so much about it we don't understand and that we don't know yet. And we're still trying to figure this stuff out. But you've got such a great example of listening to your body, but also experimenting and learning about what works best for you. So that way you can make progress in your way, as opposed to following some sort of a strict formula that works against you.
Yeah, exactly. And besides that, I could read tons of books regarding everything, but then it all comes down to experience. And now when I read those books and those researches, I have some kind of different set of eyes now. I have more filters. I just know, okay, this guy is saying something here, or no, this is a complete crap. I can't listen to this anymore because I know it doesn't work.
And you're coming from experience. And I think that's
exactly.
the key thing is we have a lot of information out there, but not enough experience. And I think there's more value in experience for yourself and learning what works for yourself and how you feel about things than learning and just consuming information, because you can learn 2 different viewpoints, like high volume training and trail running. But until you go out and really experience it and give it a good honest shot, like you don't really know what it's going to do for you and how your body's going to react to it.
Yes. And they don't actually, they're not patient enough. They don't stay consistent with their training routine to actually see whether this works or not. They do 10 workouts and then they say, this isn't for me. Now I have in drafts a video for YouTube where I want to discuss why most of people don't get results in calisthenics, but not only in calisthenics.
Just period, results period.
Yeah, and I discuss this. when I started to run on trails, I said, okay, I have to do 30 to 50 runs to actually make some really strong conclusions about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people can't say, oh, running is not for me or calisthenics is not for me, because
Yeah.
from my experience, and I think you agree with me,
Mm-hmm.
you would ask him, but how much did you try?
Yeah.
And they always say, oh, I tried, I did this, I did that, the other thing. And when I discuss with them on my Instagram, on I don't know where, they text me on my email, as I engage the discussion, I notice there are a lot of things they don't match, they don't do
Mm.
as I am.
Like
And
what?
then I,
What can you give us some examples?
yeah, like they don't know how, they don't know how important is recovery,
Mm.
you know, and they focus too much on technical stuff at all times, you know. So their question is always, oh, should I add that variation too?
Mm-hmm.
And I ask, but how many variations did you add? Well, 3. And I said, do you know David Goggins? Yeah, he only does pull-ups, but he does hundreds of reps. He does it for months and months and months, and he built his body with it.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think you need 10 variations? Because you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So can I do 2 variations really? Yes, you can do 2 variations. And then he asks, but what if I do 8? You can do 8 as well.
Yeah. Well, I would look at it kind of like saying, all right, so you've got this mountain that you're running on. What about a different mountain? Or should I run, 3 different mountains? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So,
sure,
but what about if I
whatever.
run 20 miles?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, run 20 miles, see how that feels.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's always about this. And then it's the protein intake. I always hear about this. Oh, I have to increase my protein intake. And why you have to increase your protein intake? Because if you see the recommendations, the guidelines, even a bodybuilder doesn't need too much protein. You can get the amount of protein necessary in a day from a meal only, and you may have 3. So there is no wonder you deposited a lot of body fat too, because bro, you're eating too much, too many macros. You eat carbo, you eat protein, you eat fat, and then you maybe put the guilt on calisthenics training because it's not working for you, but maybe you eat too much.
Yeah.
You know, so this is what I observe. This is kind of examples I notice to people, because they ask, oh, really? Nutrition is that important? Sleeping is that important? Well, yes, if you ask me, then of course, in fitness, in sports is important. If you ask a businessman, he'll tell you, you sleep too much. Sleep 5 hours a day, wake up and make money.
Yeah.
But maybe you're different, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And from the sides of those things too, like we tend to get focused on one or the other. Like we get focused on our workouts or focused on our nutrition. Almost nobody focuses enough on sleep kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is, like, all 3 of those things are so important because you can't get the benefits of any of those through the other methods. Like, I don't care how great your diet is. You're going to suck as a runner if you don't ever run. Or you
Yeah,
can sleep
exactly.
great and have a great workout program, but if your diet sucks, forget it. And there's just, you cannot compensate for one with the betterment of the others. But it's also cyclical because the better your sleep is, that helps regulate hormones. Your diet can be better. You have less cravings. Your metabolism improves, your energy and your work. So each one builds off of the power of the other. But you can't say, oh, I'll make it up with a better workout or I'll make it up with a better diet, because you can't get the benefits of one from the others.
Yeah, exactly. I know for sure one of the reasons why I got these great results in the past year is because I matched every single box. My nutrition was on point, then my training was on point, my recovery too. And it's like you said, when you have this cycle, the trio, when it just repeatedly goes on, then of course in 3 months you can see real results. But if you lack in one or another, then there will always be something missing.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And there are no shortcuts here. if you want results, you have to respect all this.
Yeah.
And
it's
also,
usually the thing you're not paying attention to.
a thing I'm not paying attention to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when people come to me and they're like, okay, like, all right, I've got like this, Da Vinci Code workout formula, optimizing every little thing. And then you're like, okay, great, whatever. So tell me about your sleep pattern. Tell me about what are you doing to relieve stress? Tell me about your diet. And they're like, yeah, but should I do like 5 reps of pull-ups and then 10 reps of rows? Or what if the moon is in this phase? Should I change my workout? Forget about your workout. It's as good as it's going to get. I don't want you thinking at all about your workout for the next 6 months. What are you doing in your sleep? Oh, I don't know. There you go. Because we get so locked into thinking of one thing. You can optimize the mother-living hell out of everything in one of those areas, but you'll never get what you want if the others are holding you back.
Exactly.
It's like if you're running out there on the trail and you have poor fitting shoes and you have a pebble in your shoe and it's like, my feet are killing me. It's like, oh, I got to do this foam rolling and what trails am I running? And like, what shoes are you wearing? Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's like, yes, it does.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I changed my shoes after 1 month of running on trails and it felt like going from Golf to Volkswagen to a Ferrari.
Yeah.
This is what it felt.
Yep.
I was amazed the traction and the grip I got. Like, wow, now I can really, really increase my performance.
Very key. Very, very key. Adorian, it's been a pleasure working with you, talking with you here today, learning about your new adventures, trail running and stuff. Where can people find more information about your adventures and your information for what you're doing?
Well, if they're interested to find out like daily updates, they can find me out on Instagram. There I post pictures, certain routines, short videos. But if they are interested into content, for calisthenics and trail running, wherever, nutrition, they can find me on YouTube. And I have the website where I write articles. They can email me, whatever.
And it's all Old School Calisthenics, right?
Yeah, Old School Calisthenics. And it's the same name everywhere they search.
Perfect. I'll have links down below in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. It's also on the blog post at reddeltaproject.com where you can find all of Adorian's information as well as his latest shredding program and his YouTube channel as well. Adorian, it's been a pleasure, man. I love chatting with you and learning all of your experience. It's worth everything for me. Thank you so much, my friend.
I thank you, man.
All right, everybody.
A real pleasure.
Very good. If you have any questions, again, reddeltaproject.com or reddeltaproject@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Or if you're on YouTube, just leave your comments, questions down below. I'll talk to you next week. Till then, be fit, live free.